Welcome back to the iWealth podcast, where we talk about all things that relate to your wealth and your future. Today we're going to talk about some of the key mistakes that happen here in southern Minnesota or the Waseca area financially. Maybe within an hour of Waseca. What are some of the key things that people are screwing up financially?
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's southern Minnesota or society in general, Matt. I mean, when we look around at, and this isn't everybody that comes in, I'm just saying in general, when I look around at money in general, I see people that I believe are unhappy, that are spending money to try to look happy. You see it on social media all day. We've all read stories about people going to take pictures in front of a jet to pretend like they're making it, but they're really faking it, you know. I think if people can get back on their horses of, I'm just going to be true to myself, and I don't need that new pair of sneakers, and I don't need that Starbucks. You know, I can drink the Folgers or whatever comes out of the coffee pot at home or whatever it is. I think that Gen Z, I think, is doing a better job of being real. And not faking it. But I do think that there's a lot of people out there that, you know, the old adage was you got to keep up with the Joneses across the street. I think that there's some of that when it comes to the social media part of it. And so I do think from a general standpoint that people are making mistakes with their money on how they're spending it. And I like nice things myself, right? I like to buy a new pair of shoes too. I'm looking in the mirror when I'm making this comment. But I think if we could get people generally around just being happy and being okay with themselves and not trying to impress anybody else, I think life would be a lot easier.
Life would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
When it comes to helping think through that and dialing some of that in, or sometimes even dialing it back, how do you have that conversation with your clients? Because that's a hard conversation, even if you're my best friend and I'm like, dude, how you doing on your credit card debt right now? Like that conversation is not fun to have. Talk me through that process.
Yeah, so a lot of times I like to go mathematical with it. So we'll enter in everybody's assets and liabilities and things like that, and start to look at a cash flow projection for retirement, let's say, or whatever milestone they have kind of coming forward, and just saying, how are we going to get there? And listen, you need to put another $300 a month aside if you're going to pay for your kids' education, which you want to pay for. We don't have $300 a month. And then we start to back off and say, well, listen, I saw on Facebook that, you had that $8 latte in your hand. Do you really need the $8 latte? And I don't get that granular, but I think that you've got to have a reality check, or at least an accountability partner, which we play, to be able to say, listen, do you need that new car? Can you wait another year or two? And does that allow you to put some more money aside? Just be true to yourself and not your friend. Don't impress your friends. Just take care of yourself. But I think I have to do it from a math standpoint to prove that one, you're short. Yeah. Two, how are you going to not be short anymore
in the future?
Yeah. One of the tough discussions is around credit cards. There have been 25 years of doing this. There's been many people I've helped them pay off their credit card debt and lecture about never again. And I see it happen. It creeps in that never again happens again. Yeah. Because it's just so easy to swipe that plastic. I read an article recently, Matt, and I'm sorry to go down this tangent, but I read an article within the last week about how kids don't even want money. They'd rather have mom and dad Venmo them cash on their phone. Yeah. Or Apple Pay or whatever it is. They don't like to carry dollar bills in their pocket. It's on their phone. It's just strange. And so that scares me from a swipe the card standpoint. Do they understand?
And you keep removing what it really, at least when you have a card, you're physically giving something over, when you have cash, you have something in your hand and then you get rid of it. Then you go to a card and then, they give you the card back. Well, then all of a sudden you have your phone and there's no real exchange of anything. You're not putting a card in and there's a psychology to that goes, and again, this is why the retailers are doing it, is because you didn't lose anything, Right. You still have your phone in your hand. Yeah. You didn't have to swipe your card. You didn't have to give us any cash. You didn't lose anything on this deal.
It's just a number on a screen, right?
It's just a number on a screen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And so, as a parent, I think that we have an obligation to make sure that we're educating our kids as much as we can about this whole credit card phenomenon and interest rates. I mean, kids, I know they understand. They do percentages. I know what's happening. I have a ninth grader. They're doing it. But do they really understand when they swipe $100 on that credit card what that percentages means?
Yeah.
And you better know, first of all, and then go teach your kids. And I see too many adults that don't get it either.
That percentage, at least in my mind, the way that I think about it, is all of the strategic advantage. That percentage is equal to the strategic advantage that you have. And if you're doing it based on a credit card, you've lost all of your strategic advantage, right? And if you're doing it all based on cash that you have, then you all of a sudden get your strategic advantage back. And it's like going into the, department store, or even the, go look at a fancy piece of, like a chair or something, and all of a sudden you can negotiate for it because you have cash in your pocket.
Right.
So you have all of your strategic advantage back.
Well, and how good does it feel to be able to take a look at this $1,500 item knowing you have the cash but walk away? I mean, you're the bank now. And so playing that bank, I love banks. They need to be there. We need them, but be your own bank.
And I just love it when you take the little bit of cash out of your pocket and all of a sudden you can get the deal right there when they know that you have that cash sitting right there.
Yeah.
It's incredible how that changes the whole dynamic of, not only 20% off, now we're doing 30 or even 40% off.
The old adage of cash is king, right?
Cash is king.
Yes to the retailer, but yes to you. Yeah. Because it puts you in the driver's seat to be able to say no and to have that and not constantly be looking at that credit card statement or whatever that's there. So anyway, when it comes to financial matters, I think that's some of the things. And then the second thing that I see that people make mistakes on is not paying attention to how much money they really should be putting away. Yeah. Do they really know the number that they want to have at 62 or 55 or 68, whenever that is?
And that's something that you actually enjoy helping people figure out, right? From what I understand.
And what's really neat is when you figure out the dollar amount, it's just a bucket. You just put that money in that bucket. That's going to be the retirement bucket. But if there's extra, then that can fund the stuff you want to do, the vacations or the car or whatever you want to do. So, it's kind of like the envelope theory with Mr. Ramsey. It's the same thing. Get your retirement funded, and then what are those other things that you can back into? So I don't think people are paying attention or getting their head around how much they really need. It's just living for today type thing. They know they need to save, so they got a 401k, but what's it add up to? What's it really mean? So I think it's important for them to figure out, and there's all kinds of calculators. You don't need me to do it either. We can do it, but there's calculators and things like that to get it done. Just know that number and work towards it. Put a goal out there. Dangle the carrot for yourself and go after it. It's
interesting too. Like, I think that there's a little bit of a process where you start with some of those simple calculators and you do the part that you can do as a consumer on your own. And then once you're to the point that you're like, do I have this? At that point, then there's a real need for coming in and sitting down with somebody that's used to running these numbers and having another person take a look at it and go, oh, did you think about this? Can we tweak this? But you almost have to do the process once on your own,
right?
Just to start it and almost like wrap your heart around what this actually could mean, this type of conversation.
Yeah, so. And there's all different types of variables. Just this morning, I looked at a retirement plan that was from another firm, and they were running the projections at 8%. It's like, I run projections at 5%, 6% for client, not 8%. I can't promise you 8%. I can't promise you 6%. I think I can get it long term.
Yeah.
So anyway, these projections can vary. So having somebody overlook these numbers at some point in your life, I think is important. But just take the step to think about it and to try to get that goal set for yourself and put yourself in the driver's seat. Be the bank. Be your own bank.
Totally cool. Well, until next time, we will see you very soon on the iWealth podcast.
Thank you.